Welcome back, Monique, to our Relationship Tool series. I'm very excited to talk with you about clean and clear agreements, which I believe is one of the cornerstones of relationships. So Monique and I are going to talk about the why of the tool. We are going to give you the steps. We are going to do our usual role plays. And so over the last 12 videos we've done together in a series, Monique, you and I have learned that more role plays make the videos better. Yep, I agree. And of course, we are going to do our usual Q&A. So Monique, why work on clean and clear agreements? And actually, why work on agreements in the first place?
That's a great question. So, clean agreements are checking your intention before you even ask somebody. Are you trying to make them wrong or feel bad, or are you actually trying to support the relationship? And then clear is so that we both know what we've agreed to and making sure that it's something we can do with integrity. And you and I both believe that clean and clear agreement creation is foundational to the health of a relationship.
Am I hearing that this tool is great at increasing the trust, safety, and quality of the relationship?
Yes, with every relationship and especially with that one with your life partner.
So, Monique, we all have agreements in relationship, whether they are conscious or not, whether we co-creating them or not. What makes it special about clean and clear agreements? What are the steps?
Yeah, and actually, before I answer about the steps, I would say an unconscious agreement I would call an expectation. Many people have lots and lots of expectations. Step one is to realize, oh, I haven't even talked about this. That moves it toward agreement. And then clean and clear agreements takes that to almost a superpower. So first, we want to make sure it's clean. If I'm trying to belittle you or make you wrong or get revenge in some way, it's not clean. So step one is to check my intention.
If you're struggling with step one, Monique and I recently did a video on clean your anger. Here is the link. I highly recommend it as it would help you clean up your intention.
And step two is to commit to the why of I really want to honor my commitment to you in our relationship. And then step three would be to establish the who's going to do what by when. And then four, which is optional, is that debrief and celebration and appreciation that we're doing this work together.
Wonderful. So, how about we put that in practice?
Sounds great.
Listeners, in our first role play, Monique is going to make a request with a malicious tone.
Valdo, it would really help if you swept the floor once in a while.
Sure. So, listeners, do you have the impression that next time I sweep the floors, I'm going to do that to better my relationship with Monique or to just get her off my back? Monique and I are going to do a second role play in which she and I are going to co-create the agreement together.
Hey, Valdo, I really want to support our relationship, and I noticed that I was feeling like I had more work on my plate than feels supportive to me. And so, to strengthen our relationship, I'm wondering if you would be willing to empty the dishwasher every workday by 5 p.m.
Monique, I fully hear how it would support you. And this is a little conflicting my workday because once I get going with business, I love to keep going. Would you be willing if we did an agreement that worked for both of us and then during the work week, 3 out of 5 days, I empty the dishwasher by 5 p.m.?
Yeah, let's try that. Let's see if that reduces both of our stress and meets the support for our relationship.
Listeners, trust you saw the big difference between the first and the second role play. In our third role play, we are going to do something that is a little bit more unnerving than dishes. Monique and I, at a party. At some point during the party, Monique clearly expresses that she's ready to go home, and I start talking with an attractive woman. Monique and I are going to do three very different role plays of that similar scenario that I'm pretty sure you have never experienced in your couple. Monique, are you ready for the first scenario?
Valdo, I can't believe you spent 45 minutes chatting up that attractive woman after you said you heard that I was ready to go.
Darling, I'm very sorry. Listeners, you may have noticed that Monique called me out with a harsh start. Monique and I did a video on harsh starts a few months ago because we believe that this is a terrible way of initiating a conversation. And as a result, Valdo apologized, but it was a fairly empty apology that did not open the door to step 2 and 3 and 4 for our tool today. So Monique and I are going to do a second role play with that same situation at a party where Valdo chats up a woman when Monique wants to go home, but in a way in which Monique starts with a soft start.
Hey, I'm interrupting this conversation because, Valdo, I wanted to remind you that you agreed that we could leave, and I'd like us to go now.
Monique, this is true that I agreed, and so let's apply the steps of our clean and clear agreement. Next time, Monique, yes, I agree that when you ask me to go home for a party, then we go home within 5 minutes. Good for you?
Sure. Yeah. Listeners, you'll notice that my sure was not very convincing because I wasn't convinced that he knew what was underneath his behavior or that he didn't make a statement to me what he was going to change to make sure it doesn't happen again. So it's like, I feel heard, but I'm not sure I'm going to get different results.
Part of the why Monique was not convinced is I was not either. So Monique, how about we do a third role play with the same scenario in which I am convinced.
Sounds wonderful. Hey, I'm just interrupting because, Valdo, you agreed a bit ago to leave, and I'd really like us to go now.
So, Monique, you and I are working on that clean and clear agreement. So let me apply that. So my overall intention is to improve the quality of our relationship. So I'm going to do a state 2 and state that to you. Monique, I agree that I didn't honor an agreement. What is above else for me is the quality of our relationship. And step 3, I agree that in the future, when you ask me to leave, I am going to honor our agreement. Within 5 minutes, we will be transitioning to saying goodbye. And then within 5 minutes, we will be leaving the party.
Thank you. I love the confidence and clarity with which you're saying that. I believe that you've made a shift here and that will happen.
Yeah. And so that feels really good conversation. And I'm really appreciating how my convincingness seems to open your heart.
Yeah, because it just feels genuine and clear.
Wonderful. Trust you notice that the feel of the conversation was very different in this last role play, and that the trust and the quality of our relationship increased as a result. So, Monique, how about we move into our usual Q&A?
Let's do it.
Question 1. What if I'm resentful when I want to negotiate an agreement with my partner?
It's a great question. Resentments happen throughout relationships, and they're just your reaction, and it's typical and healthy. And what we just encourage you to do is watch our video, Cleaning Your Anger, so that you can learn from those feelings of resentment. one of the relationship goals would be to lower that resentment account and to be processing things so that you're not visiting there as often.
So are you inviting our listeners to go back to viewing our clean anger video?
It's a great tool.
One question I hear quite a bit: how important are the agreement on time and place?
Yeah, this is actually the one that feels uncomfortable for couples because it feels kind of artificial and structured at first. What's true is it's worth feeling uncomfortable as you first use this tool because when you say who's going to do what by when, like Tuesday at 5, you have a really clear agreement, which means you can boost your connection because you boost your integrity and are able to be really clear about what's going to happen. Otherwise, what might happen is I might be thinking, well, you said you'd do it Tuesday. Well, why haven't you done it yet? Why haven't you done it yet? It lets me relax and it lets you know I need to do it by then.
If you're a man watching this video, one of the things that you may not fully grasp is that women tend to worry a lot more than men. And so the quality of the what you're going to do by when is critical. Otherwise, you're going to trigger some negative anticipation from her. She is going to be on edge, and you know how painful that is for you.
This listener asks, well, what if they say no to my request?
That is a really good question. So, we are inviting you to learn to co-create a better relationship together. A no is a wonderful answer if that's what your partner fully feels, and a no is the basis for a conversation. So here, I talked about men earlier. If you are a woman, I'm pretty sure that sometimes your partner asks for sex and your answer is no, but you would love a back massage, you would love a foot massage. That may possibly lead to sex, but your answer is a no at first.
No is not the end of a conversation. It's the invitation to explore the needs underneath that are bringing the no so that you can find a win-win agreement for the two of you.
Next question feels like a natural follow-up to the previous question. Do you need to co-create agreements?
Yes and no. So yes, if you're doing an agreement where you're finding out the needs and you're kind of finding those edges together, you're learning from each other. And no, when you realize I screwed up, I broke an agreement that's foundational to our relationship. So I might come to you, Valdo, in this example and say, hey, I realized I was really out of integrity and I vow to get back into alignment with an agreement we had. And so there's also that opportunity to just initiate and almost proclaim or vow that you're back on track.
So am I hearing that the answer is yes for agreements and no for boundaries?
That's actually probably exactly what it is.
Wonderful. Interestingly, Monique, our next plan video is on boundary setting.
Yes, it's important for boundaries to not be too messy or too rigid, right? So there's somewhere between doormat and brick wall that we're looking for. Too messy can be that I have low self-esteem or lack of clarity. Too rigid could be that I have narcissistic tendencies or that I'm really fearful about what's around this agreement.
Perfect segue to our next question. How about renegotiating agreements?
This is such a great skill to have in a relationship. So about 90% of the time, just make agreements that you can keep. But then 10% of the time, stuff comes up and you realize you now have a conflict with the agreement you have with your partner. The goal here is to immediately renegotiate. Realize something's come up, reach out, and show them that you value your word, you value the agreement in place, and that you're committed to your integrity.
If this video inspired you to liberate more love through cleaner and clearer agreement in all your relationships, please hit the like button below and subscribe so you can be notified when I publish new juicy content. And please share with all you believe would benefit. I look forward to seeing you very soon.